So it was. I, absorbed in my work, she, alone, angry, afraid, desperate. It is no wonder that she was drawn to a young man who gave her the excitement, the pleasure of her youth and dreams again. As I have said, I knew but chose not to know. I saw the looks, heard the whispers, but hoped somehow I might find her again when this had run its course. Never, never would I have brought her to a place of shame. That moment in the temple court tore across both our lives. I had been working since dawn. You work in the early hours while the light is pearl and gentle. The blinding white of the marble would burn the eye in the full glare of the day. So I was returning to the village, crossing the court of the Gentiles at a tangent to leave by the gate to the Kidron Valley. I remember noticing very distinctly in the silence a scuttering lizard on the wall and the arcing swallows high overhead. Then the murmur, eager, almost greedy, which swelled again to demand an answer. I saw the man bent before her, so that in her shame and terror he was lower than her, creating a small circle of safety around her as he continued to draw their eyes away from her exposed and trembling body to the words he inscribed and then smoothed away in the dust between them. The silence again, palpable, quivering in the heat. He rose to his feet to look round at the circle of men holding their gaze one by one. "If you're sure you've never done any wrong," he said, almost carelessly, "you could throw the first stone." Then he bent down again and continued his writing. A strange unease, almost embarrassment, passed like a spasm among the crowd, and then they moved away, each remembering some other purpose. And when they had gone, he looked up again, drawing her eyes and lifting her head with his gaze, eye to eye, as no other man would look at a woman unless related to her. "So, where are they, then?" he asked her, gently, "those who would have condemned you?" I saw her draw together all the frail and shattered pieces of her bid for freedom, wings smashed against the bars of her life, a loveless childhood and marriage, the humiliation of her exposure, her powerlessness as a woman. All of that degradation was held, absorbed, cancelled in the exchange of look for look that passed between them. "They are not here, sir," she answered. I do not know whether she knew I was present or not. "Then you too. You are free to go, and you can walk free of past shame." Suddenly released, I moved forward from my rigid place in the shadows, my outer cloak ready in my hand to cover her from the stares of strangers as we returned home. She turned to see me, and as though for the first time, we saw each other clearly, look for look, as I walked to her, and I glimpsed again the words in the dust before the man bent and brushed them away. "Go, love again," words from the prophet Hosea. I've often wondered how it was that the finger of God wrote upon the stone tablets of Moses were the words incised with fire, chiselled out of living rock. Or what are the fingers that wrote upon the wall of Belshazzar? I saw the finger of God here, lean, brown, a workman's hand, much like my own. and it spelled out healing, not judgment. And so we left Jerusalem and its neighbourhood. There is always work for a mason, even with a crippled foot, and so we travelled first to Caesarea Philippi, where I found work on the Summer Palace. Soon we moved to Corinth, seeking a new beginning and a new community, and gradually love, trust, kindness grew between us. Shame fled away, and our children were born. And our firstborn, our daughter, your mother, we called Keziah, after Job's daughter, that she would always have an equal inheritance with her brothers. It is now many years since my dear wife died. All our years of healing and happiness have long outweighed those early griefs. But I want you to understand and remember our story. Make sure that it is told, so that others understand how she was treated on that day, and how he raised her up to dignity and hope. It is 40 years ago, and now Jerusalem itself has fallen into ruin. Those magnificent walls besieged, and the stone blocks so crisply carved and joined that you could not pass a feather between them, all crashed into rubble, split, wrecked, a desolation. But what was written in the dust remains.